Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Complete.
And now it's time. I said now. I said it's time. And now for something completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima. And now for something completely machinima.
Hello and welcome to And Now for Something Completely Machinima, the podcast about coughing, machinima, virtual production, and related technologies. I am your host, Phil Rice, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Damian Valentine and Tracy Harwood.
Hello.
Ricky is not with us right now, and to be completely honest with you, we're not entirely sure why. That's all we've got to say about that. We hope that he's going to just interrupt and show up in the middle here, but we'll see. So, this week we're going to be talking about my machinima film pick for this month. And it is a doozy. It is called Back to the Future Unhinged version, made by a channel that goes by the name of Landon's Animation Wheelhouse. Now, some of you have seen this, I'm sure, because it's actually got a fair bit of attention, about, I want to say 700,000 views or so, pretty close to that. This caught my attention. This is all thanks go to the YouTube algorithm for delivering this. I wasn't searching for it. It just popped up. And the thumbnail grabbed me because it kind of had a look of the aesthetic, which I personally really enjoy, which is the machinima look. It looked like something video game-ish. And so I was kind of surprised to learn after watching it and reading the description that it's not made in a video game at all. It's made in Blender, but I think made deliberately with that aesthetic that we tend to like. So the story is, I don't know, how spoilerish should we be here? It's going to be hard to talk about this one without being spoilerish. So if you're concerned about spoilers, maybe pause and check the link in the description for the video and go watch that first, because there's no way to talk about this film without spoilers. But essentially, it's a short set in the world of Back to the Future. And so you're following Doc Brown and Marty in the DeLorean, and they are traveling through time. But even more so than in the way it went in the movies, sometimes the time travel goes horribly wrong, and they end up in all manner of places and times that cause some mayhem, cause some acutely historical mayhem, I might say, because of course, I'll tell you what it reminds me of is there's a sequence in the old movie Forrest Gump that shows Tom Hanks as that character kind of intercut with all these historical settings. At one point, I think he's shaking hands with
Nixon.
President, Nixon or Johnson, and maybe even John F. Kennedy, and he's in the Vietnam War, and it's all this stuff where he's inserted into these significant events, right? Well, this is that taken to like a steroid level. They end up getting plopped into the middle of very significant situations that you will recognize most of them, if not all of them. And the Hindenburg crash, for example. And basically the implication through the way that the events are portrayed is that they actually caused that they actually caused the pandemic, that they actually caused these other things. So that's fun and funny all on its own, but I think what's most compelling about this is the style. And I don't just mean the visual style. We've already touched on that, but the it's one of the few movies in our scope that I've ever seen that it feels like there's a lot of accidents, like a lot of it feels unplanned, like it feels as if they really are being thrown into this, and everything that's happening, everything the car bumps into, and explosions and this and that, it's just wonderfully done. And the fact that there's not a single thing in here that was an accident. This is all keyframed, scripted animation. Um, is just brilliant. It's like nothing I've seen. And his channel, this channel, Landon's channel, has a great number of videos in this style and of this type of theme, and they're not all Back to the Future related at all. Um, some really wild stuff, and it's a unique voice, if you will, his way of telling these stories. And unhinged is the perfect adjective for the feel of it. It's very frenetic, it's very chaotic. And again, the fact that this was crafted and scripted, I think maybe that contributes to the video game feel, because sometimes in machinima, true machinima that's made in a video game, like in Grand Theft Auto, for example, sometimes a sequence of events, it's just accidental. You go through and you happen to crash in a particular way, or you go up on the curb or whatever, and it's all just accident. So you just keep it. You're like, oh, cool, we'll use that as our footage. But there's no such thing with this. There's no game engine that was underneath this. This was all planned and executed, and it's a very unique feel. The sound is terrific as well, and he uses the, I'm going to call it the machinima equivalent to the Wilhelm scream, which, if you know film at all, that's that one scream that is in countless movies. It's the same exact scream. The story behind it is that it's kind of a practical joke, like an inside joke amongst sound engineers in Hollywood to see who could insert that. And I can't remember what the exact origin of doing that was, but it's in at least one of the Star Wars movies. It's in most movies. You'll just hear that one sound. He doesn't do that with the Wilhelm scream. He does it with a Doom, the original Doom, like from the 1990s Doom, pain sound. This kind of a that's in there, just inserted, sometimes absurdly so, like where it doesn't even really fit. So
Yeah.
wonderful little touches like that. It's one that you almost can't not watch more than once because it's going so fast, and the humor is going so fast, and the dialogue's going so fast that if you're like me, you'll end up laughing over some of the content and have to watch it again. So I just found it terrific and refreshing, and what actually Tracy found this a few weeks back and put it on the board and says, "Hey, if anybody wants to, or has anyone seen this?" And it was already on my board to
Yeah.
pick, so it came to both of us in a different way. And yeah, what did you guys think of it?
It was on my list to pick as well, but you beat me to it.
Was it really?
Yeah, so I was going to choose this. I thought about changing my pick last month from what I was talking about to this, but then I said no, I'll save this one for this month. But then, but then you beat me to it. But I'm glad you did. It's got that. It does have that machinima feel to watching it, and so I kept thinking this could be done with GTA 5. Like I know it can't, it wasn't, but it's kind of got that feel. If you were going to make this with any machinima game, any machinima platform, GTA 5 would be the one you choose. You'd probably have to mod it to get the DeLorean in. I'm sure someone's done that.
I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just the way the characters move, especially Doc Brown. The lips, the mouth movements are really exaggerated that you get in that kind of old school machinima style where you don't have a lot of control over the facial movements, so they tend to be very exaggerated, or they just go to the maximum extreme of whatever you're going for. And this does it. But of course, as you said, this is Blender, so everything has to be done manually. So it's done on purpose. And, he's captured that machinima feel with this Blender film perfectly. And I'm a big fan of the Back to the Future films, so it's fun to watch from that perspective as well. Because I don't think I've ever seen Back to the Future in any kind of machinima form before. The entire time I spent in the machinima community, I don't think anyone's ever made a Back to the Future film, at least not one I've seen. So that kind of stood out as well. But yeah, it's
I
so
think
really
there
well
was
done.
one in the Quake movie days, made in Quake 2, but it was
Okay.
very primitive. Nothing terribly memorable, but I seem to remember something like that. It was very brief, short. Around the same time that Hugh did a Matrix inspired short. If you
Okay.
Yeah.
remember that. In
Yes.
one of the, was it in the Lithtech film producer or something? It was in some kind of
Mhm.
primitive engine at the time. And there was quite a few of these directly movie inspired things that were being experimented with at the time. And I think that I saw one back then, but who knows where it is. And I mean, it's nothing compared to this for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
this is definitely not primitive.
might well be on Internet Archive, that might be.
Could be.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Let's have a look.
Hmm.
But yeah, and that Doom sound is being overused in completely inappropriate places for that kind of sound effect. It's perfect. Uh, the first time I heard it, I thought, that's that sound from Doom. And then it just kept,
So you recognized it right away too?
oh yeah. And then it
Oh,
just
that's
kept
great.
happening throughout the film. Yeah, it was hilarious. So, yeah, I'm glad you did choose it. And we did get a chance to talk about it because this is a really good film. Um, One thing I found hard to watch is I really like the DeLorean car. And throughout the film, it gets trashed. So it's hard to watch that because I really like the
Yes.
car. But even that is really well done because um, Landon's going to have to modify the car model so bits of it are falling off or getting um, wrecked and damaged. So that again is more hard work because I don't imagine too many people have. If you went looking for a DeLorean 3D model or in particular the Back to the Future one, you're probably going to find lots of models out there. I don't think too many people are going to have made one that was falling apart because that's not the goal of recreating a famous film car. So he had to do that himself, I would imagine, or had
Hmm.
someone
Yeah, separating out
working with.
meshes and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that just shows that the level of work that it went into this to go to that much trouble.
Yeah. Do you want me to do my
Yeah.
little bit? Yeah, great. Okay. Well, I love this. He's made it for the 40th anniversary of the film. 40th anniversary. I couldn't believe that. It
Wow.
was originally released in 1985. Unbelievable. Now, on his website, not only does he have links to his films, but he also has uh, his artwork and some jams that he does. Apparently, he does a jam every week. And I'll put a link to his jamming channel, which is also absolutely amazing in terms of the way that he goes about um, just covering, well-known songs, really. He's an outstanding creative, pretty much with everything he does, very evidently. Um, I also really enjoyed the description that he's got for the channel here. He says he's a guy that likes to make movies, original animated series where the content, animation, and sound design is done in-house. And the only law he has is that the animation breaks the rules. And by
Yeah.
that he means he's dedicated to making animations about vehicles, mechanics, and crashes.
Well, he's certainly done that here.
He's certainly done that here. He's certainly done that in a lot of the other stuff that he's made as well. So it's pretty incredible. In this one, obviously, we see. I'm going to do a bit of a spoiler here as well. So if you want to pause, fine. We see Doc drive like a maniac with Marty in a passenger seat, which apparently damages the DeLorean's flux capacitor. That's kind of what happens. So they've lost the ability to pinpoint the date they're going to. Now, Doc thinks he can fix it if he can get the part he needs. So he continues to drive like this idiot, causing total mayhem wherever they go. And along the way, I mean, this is the bit that's just so brilliantly done, so brilliantly written, and it just in the most hilarious way. Um, I mean, it turns out that not only is the DeLorean tough enough to endure this massive beating that it gets, but also the bubble in which this car emerges when it travels through time can even withstand the vacuum of space. And they kind of do all of this without dying, which is hilarious. But what I think it demonstrates is just the most delightful storytelling you can imagine. It's rooted in the type of film and game content we all absolutely loved when we were growing up. And this is, you both mentioned it actually, it has shades of Grand Theft Auto and I think perhaps a bit of BeamNG film. Wrapped up with this kind of classic 1980s film. And it also takes us to places in history we just never thought this would go. And I think in the process expands the lore of what that flux capacitor is as perhaps the world's most important time traveling device ever made, really. I mean, it caused the Hindenburg disaster. It caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. It's the reason the iceberg hit Titanic. It caused the pandemic. And in the future, it's clearly the cause of the Independence Day catastrophe. And on top of that, he's invented Type 304 steel, which is used in most modern kitchen sinks today, and is also the outer skin, I believe, of the Dragon X spacecraft that Musk shoots up. And on top of that, he's also discovered triple layer duct tape, which is his solution to his problem. I mean, stitching that lot together, what kind of a mind has this guy got? It's really, the editing is beautiful. The voice acting, I think, is amazing. The shots and the positioning, and particularly the camera in the way that the shots are done, is just outstanding. The sound design, I thought, was incredible, really. But so too was the characterizations, which, really tapped into the Doc and Marty characters that we all know and love. But then on top of that, he's got suspense, the effects are there, the writing and the storytelling. Everything is just so well done. Do you know, for me, this was right up there with the modded Wacky West that we reviewed a couple of years ago. Probably one of the craziest machinimas I've ever actually seen. That was made in Red Dead Redemption 2. Obviously, this is made in Blender. But I would say what he's drawing on here is the physics of a bunch of tools that he's used within Blender as well, which he's probably not talking about. So yeah, for me, this is one of the best shorts that I've really seen. I think what impressed me so much is actually the depth of understanding of some of the original aspects of the narrative arc and the story and the relationship. There's bits in this where the relationship between Marty and his nemesis Biff and the grandfather character are all kind of alluded to, and also in the context of various kind of future technologies, all of that in the mix. And they're so well done in this, those kind of level of details. They're so just, it's brilliantly put together. For example, there's a bit there where there's this kind of exaggerated movement and facial animations, which you sort of picked up on, Damian, which are, they're not Doc from the film, but they are very Doc, just exaggerated. Yeah, I mean, it all adds to the qualities of the film. I also thought the movement of the characters, which kind of indicated some of the aspects of the story, was also super intelligently done, really. For example, Marty was in that classroom with the door open, and then he kind of turns away with his head in his hand. Really subtle movement and really excellent cinematography, I thought, which kind of demonstrated how clever this guy is with the positioning of the camera for that kind of shot. And similarly, with the way the madness of Doc was kind of portrayed. It was just brilliantly done. It showed a real depth of humor and simultaneously, I think, a real respect for the original work. Um, there was nothing that I could really criticize in it. But I will uh, add a little something else. Because this is a little story I'd like to tell you. So a few weeks ago, before this kind of came to our shared notes, it did actually pop up in my feed. And at the time, I was preparing my keynote for the UK's Institute of Science and Technology's annual conference. Now, actually, I'm the chair of the board of advisors for their creative industries and technologies practitioner register. And I was kind of really looking forward to the event because I was super excited to meet the president of the Institute, who's none other than Dr. Helen Sharman. She's a cosmonaut and the first Briton and European woman in space. Now, not surprisingly, I wanted my presentation to be focused on creative technologies, and the emergent roles of generative AI was something that I was going to be talking about. So I thought I would show this film as an example of exemplary creative practice using, I'm certain, tools that embed AI at its heart, such as with the rigging and the animation workflow. I suspect they're deeply rooted in it. So when I presented this, a lot of folks in the room were kind of scientists and technologists, and probably just a few were creative technologists, but everyone loves Back to the Future, right? So I thought this would be a perfect thing to show them, given the diversity really of interests that would be in that room. So Helen, who had introduced me to the audience, said, well, that's really wild. And I'm sure, well, I'm not too sure even. I'm not too sure about life in space without a helmet, and that kind of part of it just didn't work for me. Well, I thought, of anybody, she's gonna know, isn't she? So there you go, Langdon. Feedback from a cosmonaut. Should you want to extend the space-based component of the story, you've now actually got somebody like that to have an overview of it, which just made me laugh. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell you is I did do a little bit of digging around about Landon, and actually, this guy's really interesting. Turns out he's 20 years old.
Wow.
So he's born in 2005, obviously never even saw Back to the Future when it came out. And most of the content he's created, which is Thomas the Tank Engine inspired, was done before he was 18. Now, he's had a passion for 3D creation from being a really young boy. His mother, Patrice, was reported a couple of years ago as saying he drew his very first 3D box and turned it into a train at aged about 2.5 years old. Can you believe that? His aim at the time that interview was done was to try to get to college to study animation and filmmaking further. I don't know if he's achieved that. Can't really find out too much about that. But ultimately, what he wanted to do was to get into 3D movie making. Well, I'd say he's done that, not least through the creative work he's produced. But can you imagine his talent put into different aesthetic approaches to contemporary works too? And I think this is clearly a young man with a very big future. And I was super impressed that we got to have a chance to talk about it on the show as well. So great pick, Phil. Thank you very much.
Yeah, his feel for, well, first of all, a little challenge for those who didn't notice this when watching it the first time, but I would challenge you, count how many camera cuts there are.
Mm.
It's all one shot. Now, mind you, this is in 3D software, so you can do there were obviously cuts when he would change from one environment to the other. That's obviously that's got to be a cut, the way that these things work. But it's all one shot. Like all these shots you were talking about, these really cleverly done. But he also had to move the camera in real time in the movie into the right position for all these different shots to capture all this. So that is so hard to do because there's so much you have to think about. I mean, you don't have to think about just what you'll see in shot A and what you'll see at shot B, but everything that you'll see between them.
Mm.
And there's nothing that's not been given thought in
Yeah.
that. A great example is there's a scene where when they teleport into it's very early in the movie,
Mm.
they jump a locomotive train that's crossing the street.
Mm.
And the train derails and then starts kind of chasing them down. So you see the train behind them and it bumps them at one point, and all these train cars are going all jaggy everywhere and stuff. And a little bit later, like a moment later in that same scene, they're driving down another street, and up suspended between two buildings is one of the wrecked train cars, which
Yeah.
we know where that came from. We didn't see it happen, but there it is.
Yeah.
And just the thought that goes into what's going on in this world he's created, not just what you see, but what would be happening when we're not watching that
Yeah.
later we'll see the effect of, is just brilliant,
Yeah.
just brilliantly done. So, yeah, it's so impressive, and it's hard to imagine him not finding a place to do this
Yeah.
as a profession in some manner. Maybe not specifically this, right? But the skill sets that he demonstrates here are phenomenal.
Mm.
And I mean, if someone were to really nitpick, I suppose they could say, well, you know, some of the PBR textures, their roughness and metallic maps were kind of glimmering in a weird way or something. It's like you have to hunt that hard to find anything to criticize here, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, the characters are blocky. Well, they're supposed to be. It feels right for the film. So, yeah, it's just tremendous. And yeah, I was just so happy to find. I went through and basically I ended up watching everything on his channel and on his website too. You're right, Tracy. The website's great. The Friday jams.
Mm.
There are these live music sessions basically with him and a friend or some friends, and quite a talented young man. So yeah, we'll be very excited to see where the name Landon Fernald turns
Yep.
up in the future.
Absolutely.
Even if, you know, who knows in this day and age, you know, if maybe one of the valid roads to success for someone like this is to just stay indie. You know, it's really hard to carve out a living that way, but you know, maybe that's the way that he goes so that he can just continue to create unrestrained, or maybe he'll, you know, get hired by someone and get paid good money,
Yeah.
unlike most indies make, right? And so yeah, I'm excited for him, and it was just a treasure. And this movie was only made what, a couple months ago? It was in
Well,
July, I think.
Released
this
a
year?
couple of months ago. I think he's probably
Right,
been making
right.
it a while.
Oh, it probably took him quite a long time. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So anyway, well, I'm glad you two enjoyed it. I'm sure Ricky would have too. It's quite a little adventure there, and yeah, again, I was really impressed by by every aspect of this. It's just got such energy and such careful craft mixed with the sense of chaos, things breaking and flying apart. It's just wonderful. So, what did you in the audience think? Let us know at talk@completelymachinima.com, or drop us a comment wherever you see this video or listening to the podcast. On behalf of my co-hosts, Tracy and Damian, I am Phil, and Ricky says hello from away, and we will see you all next time.